All right, we're going to find the domain and the range of this function that's given in the graph. Now remember that the domain is all of your x coordinates. So when we're looking at this graph from left to right, because that's how your x-axis works, this point right here is the leftmost point on the graph, and it has an x-coordinate of -3. So this graph, sorry my straight lines aren't that great, doesn't go any further to the left. It doesn't cross over that line. And then to the right, it doesn't go any further than this line. To the right, it doesn't cross over that. And you can see that this line is at 2 and this is at -3. So the domain is anywhere in between these two lines. That's where the domain is, starting at -3 and ending at 2. There is a solid dot right here. So that means you're going to give it a bracket. But there's an open circle on this one, so that's going to get a parenthesis, and then you put a comma in between, and there's your domain. That's my domain. So D for domain starts at -3 and includes it, goes up to 2 but doesn't include it. So any part of this line, any point on that line has an x-coordinate somewhere between -3 and +2. Now, for the range, boop, now we're going to look at the range. Do I have a lighter pink? That's about as pink as it's going to get. Okay. Your range is your x-coordinates. Sorry. The range is your y-coordinates. So you have to look at this thing vertically. How low does it go and how high does it go? So the lowest point is also this solid point right here. That's the lowest point on the graph. And the highest point is also this point that had that open circle on it. So the range is anywhere in between these two lines. The point with the solid dot on it, that's the lowest point. That is at, let's look at the y-axis. It's right here at this 2, and then this open circle one is right at this 3. So the lowest point, go back to pink, is -2. The highest point is +3. But the 3, this open circle here, means it goes up to almost 3, but not quite. So 2.9 repeating. So you put a parenthesis on that. And the solid dot here means you do include the -2, so that needs a bracket. So intervals always go from smallest to largest. And so the smallest y coordinate is -2, and the largest one is 2.9 repeating, but you say 3 and put a parenthesis on it, which is fancy speak for 2.9 repeating. So again, this line in between that solid dot here and this open circle there, all of those points have y coordinates somewhere between -2, boop, -2 and 3. Because you're looking at, the y-axis here versus the x-axis there for all of those points. They're within that little triangle or rectangular shape there. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. And how to find the domain and range from a graph.